I'm 100% okay with homeless people using my money for booze and cigarettes. Most people I've talked to say they avoid giving money to homeless folks because they think they will use it for beer, cigarettes, and/or drugs. They would rather give them food or some other tangible item to help them out. While I understand the thinking behind it, I'm also not naive enough to think that my $5 is going to magically get this person off the streets and back on their feet. These people are already down on their luck and have enough to worry about. If my $5 helps get them a pack of cigarettes or a beer and that's what they need to get through another day with the clippy hand they've been dealt, then I'm okay with that. Edit. Since some people seem to think I'm explicitly giving homeless people money for vices, I felt the need to clarify. I'm also 100% okay with homeless people using my money for food. The point is, once I give it to them, I'm okay with them spending it on whatever they want or feel they need. Not all homeless folks are addicts, people. Being an adult can't start at age 18 and 21. Make everything either completely 21 or 18. In the United States at least, you can own a firearm, drive a vehicle, and enlist in the military at age 18. You are considered an adult when you duck up in the name of the law. But at the same time, heaven forbid you drink a beer with your friends, have a cigarette, or rent a car because you're not an adult. Frick out of here. Make it one age and call it a day. People who think animals are gods and humans suck are cranky. Every time I see a post with a dog or any animal, really, you always see the comment with a couple thousand upvotes saying how much animals are great and humans ruin the earth or some BS. I think people who treat animals like gods are just people with no social skills and blame others for hating them, so they resort to things who can't talk and love you just because you feed them. Plain solid colored shirts are superior to any sort of branded or graphic shirts. A plain solid colored shirt is aesthetically pleasing. It makes you look clean and nice, and usually you can find them made well. Some logos can pass if they aren't too out there, but most of the time a shirt looks a lot worse when branded or with a graphic design. In my opinion, a solid color looks so much better on any person than some of the ridiculous-looking branded graphic design shirts people find to wear. The only good exception is collegiate wear. Smokers should be publicly shamed, not for smoking, but for littering fricking everywhere. I am tired of my city and basically every city being completely covered in cigarette butts fricking everywhere. We should start a public campaign to openly shame any smoker that throws a cigarette butt on the ground. I'm so sick of people undermining and dismissing the mental health of 13-14-year-olds because they are too young to be suffering from mental illnesses. It's the same stuff you see a lot, memes made about 13 and 14-year-old girls thinking they know about true sadness, heartbreak, anxiety, depression and whatnot. Young teens don't get taken seriously enough, made to believe that they simply aren't old enough to process such complex emotions, so much so that their claims of being depressed boils down to being attention-seeking and looking for validation. I'm so sick of this. I'm not 13/14, but I know for a fact that what many kids are going through is in fact real, and not some complex concept that they aren't old enough to understand. More and more young teenagers suffer from social anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, and we cannot keep undermining and dismissing what they feel. At that age, it can ruin so much. people of all ages should seek help for mental illnesses, but more often than not, what children suffer with don't even get taken seriously as a mental illness. And I hate that. At what point do they get taken seriously? 15, 16? Is that when they are mature enough to have a mental illness? Edit. Some background info. I had suffered from depression at a young age but got help through therapy. Also, my sister, who had just turned 13, suffered from later diagnosed severe depression, social anxiety, separation anxiety, and generalized anxiety that built up slowly but escalated so fast out of control. Every day was a struggle, everything was a struggle, and this was for many months. Without going into too much detail, basically our family was struggling to help her ourselves, but it was almost impossible to find outside help. Because of her anxiety, my sister was so afraid to seek help. It changed my outlook on mental illness, and it went from a point where I couldn't see a future to when my sister had finally successfully reclaimed a somewhat normal life through intervention and counseling. Many times I wonder where I went wrong, or there were signs I missed. Did I dismiss her feelings and invalidate her? At what point did it lead to this? I blame myself sometimes for not paying enough attention and for not taking my sister seriously enough, so I wanted to make this post to say that please listen when someone is struggling. It may save their life. Sparkling water tastes like pins and needles and doesn't need to exist. For some context, I live in Germany and sparkling water is so normal here that it's the classic flavor of water over natural. But, seriously though, how do people drink it so easily? It just tastes like the static your TV gives out when you're tuning channels or when you've lost feeling in your legs after sitting on a crappy chair for too long. Doesn't need to exist. There are plenty of other carbonated drinks that have taste that's worth existing. Water should be chuggable and fresh, not bland and physic. Autocorrect programs need to start recognizing swear words. I understand a lot of children have cell phones these days, but it's utter buckshot that these ducking companies are shy about itty-bitty swear words. I mean, what the duck? They are just words. Don't make me go back and switch every piece of horse-shot word every time I want to swear in iMessage or when emailing my government representatives to tell them they are a bunch of cork-sucking base holes. Duck 'em all. So come on, Apple. Come on, Google. Get your heads out of your base to do something for duck's sake. Huge stacked burgers suck. There's nothing worse than a burger with too many toppings that spill all over the place and make a mess. Burgers that require you to unhinge your jaw to take a bite is not an enjoyable eating experience. For people that worry about making a mess and getting food all over their face and hands, there's nothing worse. Pringles don't get nearly enough credit for maximizing their package space. If you've been on the internet for longer than 10 minutes, you've probably already seen a dozen people complaining about the empty air in bags of chips. You may have even seen someone complaining about the size of a Pringles tube. But for all of the complaining I've seen, not once has anyone shown gratitude to Pringles for filling the whole container with chips. Those guys made a sturdy cardboard tube with a darn metal base so they can protect the chips and fill the whole package, and don't even get me started on the resealable lid they include for freshness. I don't even like Pringles all that much, to be honest, but darn do they deserve some respect. Americans exaggerate the supposed health benefits of weed because they want an excuse to get high. I deleted my original text because people were pissing me off saying I'd said things I hadn't, so in a nutshell, Weed has some medicinal benefits, but it has been over-exaggerated by people, especially American people, because they want it legalized so they can get high. That's it. I never said that it has no medicinal benefits, and I never said there's anything wrong with wanting to get high or that I don't support legalization. I especially place the emphasis on Americans because everyone I've known who tried to push weed as harmless and good for you has been American, whereas most Brits acknowledge that there are some risks involved. Here are some examples. Lung damage, if you smoke it. Impaired judgment while driving. Many in the comments are arguing that it's safe, if not safer, to drive while high. No, just no. Possible mental health issues. I never said that weed causes schizophrenia. I said that studies have shown that there is a positive correlation between weed usage and psychosis and schizophrenia, which may lead to unemployment and homelessness. Yes, you may lose your job if you develop severe psychosis, which renders you unable to work. Stuff happens. Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. I still support decriminalization of marijuana, but I simply think that not enough emphasis is placed on the possible risks and side effects of weed, as too many users push it as a miracle drug that'll cure any ailment under the sun.